Hello and welcome to the channel. So we've got a Burman 501, and yes, it's in a head cabinet, and of course Burman didn't make these amps in a head cabinet, so the customer has made this, and it's quite nice white vinyl, got some Fender Vintage grill cloth on the front there. Yeah, so it's all looking good, very solid. But this amp needs a bit of a service and a few things looking at. So some of the problems that I've got here, so sudden large hum, reverb hum, master volume hum, bias pot mod, which is what we did on one of the previous ones. Bypass cap values to try and tighten up the overdrive without losing the character of the amp. That's compromise in commas. Anything out of spec if you think it needs sorting. So there we go, that's our list there. So we'll get this out of the case, and then we can have a bit of a look at it. Well, that's the reverb turned full up, obviously with the gain 3. It says master volume hum, but there's no master volume on this amp, there's just 3 gains. So I'll have to just get with the customer about that, just see what he means by that. So if I turn that up, yeah, by God, there's some gain there. Yeah, so the problem with this could be that the reverb tank is just too close to the tubes, because obviously this was in a combo, and the reverb unit's obviously in the bottom of the combo cabinet. So we'll have to have a look at that, but that really is noisy, my word, even halfway really. See what we can do with that. So sudden large hum, but that's not appeared yet. Let's get it out of the cabinet and then we can have a better look. So if we look here, you can see we've got the full length reverb cables on, and the customer's left those on because it still gives him the option to put it all back in its original case, in the combo case. But the problem with that is that could be inducing a bit of noise. Right, having a look in this amp, and we can see that some work's been done on it at some time, maybe a good while ago. A place called Tweak Services serviced this amp in Cheshire. But I've checked online, and there is no business, so I'm guessing this was serviced a while ago. And looking in here, it certainly does look as though it was serviced maybe 10 years ago. I don't know. There's a few things. That's not too bad. It is coming out, but it won't be going anywhere. It's just those clips aren't very clever on those, too shallow. but it's in solid enough. It won't pull out, that's the main thing. Goes so far and then it's solid enough. So the work looks good, okay. The only thing that I can see is these resistors here look a bit burnt. These 10k balancing resistors just look a bit singed. That one more so there. Just go into manual focus. So this one in the corner there more so. It just looks a bit, either that or some of this glue got spilt on it, I don't know. But so we just need to test some of these capacitors really, just to give us an idea. We've got a 1 microfarad here, that's original. Not sure about this one. And then we've got the bypass caps here. These will probably be shot. These are all 100 microfarad. I've checked the impedance on the output transformer. Either side, we've got red is centre tap on here. We've got green and white as the plates, and we've got 43.5 R on green and 49.2 R on white. I mean, these amps are really well built, so everything looks to be there. There doesn't look to be any problems. This wire's been extended here probably because these caps are shallower, where the other caps probably came out here. This wire then wouldn't reach, so it's fine. It's been tie wrapped into there, and it's just good, neat work. So yeah, it's very good. It's just how long ago it was serviced. Just not sure how long. Let's ask the customer, see if he knows. But if they test okay, then they're fine. F and T's for these two. Not sure what these two are, can't really see, but F and T's for those. We've got the meter here, so we'll have a look at some of these bypass caps while we're in here. Let's try that one. In circuit leaky. That doesn't mean to say it is, but given the age of these, let's try the next one. 242 microfarad. Just click that so it's in focus. So I think we're going to remove those anyway and change them. So you can see we've got the caps there, 32 and 32 there, and the same on this side. You see this here, that's looks original. I don't know, or has someone modded that? Strange. Where's that going? To that white wire there. That's a cathode. So why would that be connected to one end of the cathode, a bypass cap? There's another resistor underneath there, connecting back. Not sure why that would be there. Let's check. There is a schematic for the preamp stage of this. There's not one for the power amp stage, but there is one for the preamp stage, so we'll have to check that. So let's see, now we've got the amp out of the cabinet. If we plug this reverb tank in that we have here, if I undo these wires so we can get it a bit further away from the amp. Right, so I've got the amp plugged in, I've got the reverb tank, I've got it on a couple of 100-watt bulbs just while we're messing around. And that's the amp. and now you can hear that the reverb's full up now, and is loads quieter. So I think that's just a simple case of this tank. Be very careful carrying this. Yeah, so if you listen now, can you hear that? So I've now got the tank. Just now take the tank away. There we go. So I'm afraid that's a slam dunk on that one. That's the reverb tank just being too close to the preamp tubes, period. So that solves that problem. Well, it doesn't actually, but it just means that there's not really any way around that. Right, I've got these bypass caps disconnected, all but one of them. And we're going to have a bit of a look. Now they're out of circuit, we can test them better out of circuit. We're going to see how bad they are. They've been in here a long time, so I've spoken with the customer, and these caps have been in about 7 years, so they'll be fine, and I've had a test round on those and no AC leakage on them, so they are all good. So let's try this one. And that is 152 microfarads with an ESR of 1.19, so he'll be leaky. I'll just go keep the same ground and go across here. There we go, 237 microfarads, so he's all over. 133, and this next one 405. Dear oh dear. And this one 159, and this one 491. And we might as well test the other one while it's in circuit. There's only the other one left. I think we know what the outcome's going to be though. Yes, 143. So they're all shot, all of them. Yeah, they're all over. So we'll change those. And yeah, that should be good. And we're going to drop those to 47, because these amps, the overdrive on them sometimes just gets a bit on the 40 side, so we're going to drop them down to 47, and that should suffice. Right, so we've got all the caps in now. The bypass caps are in, the 47s, and I've been turning my attention to this bias preset pot. Now when I wired up the last Burman I did, the 501, the first one we had in, I don't think I got that bias pot quite right, but I have revised the circuit and got it so if the bias preset pot fails, the bias will just go cold. Now this was wired, the bias preset pot was wired from the AC to the diode, so that was dropping the AC voltage, and that's how they were working that. So what I've done now is I've put a 22k resistor in there, and without the pot that gives me about -53, which is way too low for the tubes. When I put the pot in parallel with the 47k resistor, which is what's going to ground from the bias, I can get it into an adjustable range. So that's the way I've wired that, and that now is actually correct. So how I did the last one, the first Burman. That wasn't actually correct the way I did that, and if the pot fails, that would still leave no bias on the tubes. However, that amp is still in the shop, so I should be recalling it and wiring it up properly. I don't know what I was thinking when I did that. It's only when I came to do this one and I'm thinking that's not going to work, but this works. So at the moment I've got the pot jumpered in, so I'm going to remove the pot now, and can you see the voltage go up there? So the pot is now completely disconnected, and you can see we've got negative 51 going on there. If I flick it off the limiter just for a second, you can see we've got negative 53. Now the amp will still run at that. It'll just be and it's still running. You'll just notice a massive drop in volume, and it probably won't sound pretty good. So now if I replace that, you can see the bias going down again, and I've got that set to negative 42 now, which is about what I need for these tubes, somewhere around there. But these are the old tubes I've got in here. Obviously I'm not working with the new tubes till I've got this right, which I now have. So that's basically how that works. So I'll just put the current limiter back on again. Now I've got negative 40 there, and if you watch me adjust the pot, well, if you watch the meter, and you can see now I'm adjusting the pot, I'll bring that down, you can see this, we've got stacks of adjustment on the pot there. That's negative 36, that's too hot, and that's only about halfway down. And if we come all the way up here, we've got negative 42.7 on there, negative 43 there, negative 46, so we don't need nowhere near that. So if I just set that somewhere there, then when I take the current limiter off, and if we go down, so if we go down, and you can see the pot where the pot is adjusted, let's go in, you can see where there the pot's at about 2 o'clock there for the bias, so there's plenty of adjustment on there. So that's just bang on with that. So that's that done. So all I've got to do now is wire the pot either side of the 47k resistor, and that's worked. And what I've done is I've clipped off the other side of the pot where it was connected, because if you can see, if we just go in, just come down a bit more, you can see there I've wired, sorry, that's just the camera affecting it, I've wired the 22k pot across there from the feed. So let's just use something that's not conductive, shall we? And we can see what we've done here. So this white wire is the bias feed here. Let's just put this on manual focus as well, then my arm won't be making it go out of focus. There we go. So this white wire here coming from the transformer is the bias feed, and I've connected that on there, and then this 22k resistor has come over here feeding the diode, which is protruding under that pot. You can just about see it. So that feeds the diode, that comes through the diode, comes through to here, feeds this resistor goes off to ground. Got the cap here smoothing it, and then the pot is just paralleled on either side. So that's how I've done that. And the pot was connected this end, and I've clipped it off, and you can see, we'll just take this off so you can see, because the bias will just drop. You can see I've clipped that off there because I didn't want that getting anywhere close. I needed that lug to connect that up, and if I run the resistor from there to the spur terminal on there, it's a bit too close for comfort. So I've trimmed it back and I've just soldered it in there. So now it only needs to be connected on 2 sides. So that works fine. Just a variable resistor. And that now is all ready to roll. So we're ready to get the new tubes in it now. Right, there we go. So I've wired it all up now, and we've got, you can see our 22k feed resistor there, dropping resistor from the feed. 47k, replace that, is a bit out of tolerance. Most of these resistors though are actually really well in tolerance, but we'll change that one anyway. Got our new cap on there, and then these are just the links that connect the pot to the 47k resistor. Got those on there, and they're 18 gauge wire, so they're pretty solid. It's quite a solid circuit, that. And I've just checked the bias on these old tubes, and I've 15.57 and 15.9, so they're a really really good balanced set of tubes, those. About 0.3 difference between those, so they're a good set of tubes. But we're going to put some KT77s in this amp. We've got to set a brand new set of JJ KT77s to go in it, so we're going to drop those in it, and then we're going to bias this amp up. And the bias now is much more stable, because before it relied on the pot to deliver the bias. If the pot would have failed, there'd be no bias on the tubes, where now it relies on that resistor, and the pot is just an addition to adjust the bias. Should the pot fail, say the bias will drop to -53, and the tubes then will be running really cold with that sort of bias on there. We could just have a bit of a look and just see how cold we are on the bulbs. Let's just go down. To be careful how far we go with that to come off the bulbs. And that we've got that to -45 now. -48 right on the end of that. -49, -50. So we've got -50 there. So let's just let's take some. If we just look up on the meter, you can see there we've got we've got -50. So we'll just do one side. The tubes are pretty well matched, so we only really need to do one side. So let's just do one side, and we've got 0.568 across there. So, and let's just see what plate volts we've got. So 0.568, and the plate volts is 470. Put the bulbs back on. Right, so just done the maths on that, and if the bias part fails, the bias will drop to 6 watts, and the tubes will be drawing just 13 milliamps. In fact, I've got that -50 because the pot won't allow us to get the -53, so probably be drawing about 5 watts, to be fair, 4 or 5 watts. The amp will still run, it'll just sound sick, it'll lose volume, and obviously that will alert the user that something's not quite right with it. But there's now no way those tubes will fry if that pot fails, so that's all good. All good stuff. So we'll just bring that back up to roughly where it was, somewhere there. Take that off, and we're just about right there. So that's good. So that's all done. The camera's gone a bit skew if there. That's all done. So now we can put the customer's tubes in, the KT77s, and we can bias those up now. Now, as I said before, in this amp, these caps were replaced about 7 years ago. These ones, so, and the good quality caps, so we've got no issues with those. We have got to just check for any leakage on these mustard caps, but it's rare. They're really good caps. This cap here is still original, but that's just on the direct out on the back there, so that's seen no voltage and it's never going to get used, so we haven't got to worry about that one. Bias cap's been changed, and obviously the bypass caps have been changed, and that's about it really. So yeah, just got to get the new tubes in. Right, I've got the new tubes in, and just bringing them up on the bulbs. Got a couple of 100-watt bulbs in now, going up, and up to negative 36, but we've only got 200 volts going in, so we'll go up on the bulbs again. So now we're at 250 watts current limiting, and the bias is coming up nicely now, negative 38. I'm just going to turn the bias preset pot to be a little cold, so we'll make sure we're not assuaging these tubes for any reason, but they should be fine. They're only JJs. Normally when we'll turn the bias preset pot all the way down there. There we go. So if we look there now, we've got negative, near enough negative 43, and we're still on the bulbs. So if I'm just going to put both 150s in now. It's got 300 watts of bulbs. They're coming up nice. Negative 43. And we've got 232 volts going into this amp on those two bulbs. So what we're going to do now is just check the bias again and see what these tubes are like. 1.1. Just want to get them into a window before we start. Right, so they're set at 11 watts at the minute, so we can come off the current limiter now. Just see where we are with these. Negative 40, I'm looking at the wrong meter. 1.3 we've got now on across the, so what I'm measuring there is I'm measuring across the centre tap and the plate. That's quite easy to do on this amplifier as well, because if we look down you can see we've got the centre tap there, and then we've got the two plates there. Very easy to do. So we measure the voltage drop across each side of the transformer. We divide that by the resistance of the transformer, which I've measured, and then we times it by the plate volts. So let's have a look. 1.3 divided by 43.5, which is on that side, and that's given us 29.88 milliamps. So I can tell you that's still quite low, but that's fine. And that's 464, and that's the camera. This doesn't like the camera, this amplifier, for some reason. 13.8 there, biased at there. So I'm only doing one side at the minute, so let's bring the bias preset up a little. That's right. Now we're drawing 410 milliamps, and we're at, now the negative, I'm monitoring this negative volts really because I've had the meter on it while I've been doing this work, and you can see that up here, but the negative voltage should never be used to set the bias. The only reason I've been monitoring that is because obviously I've made adjustments to that pot. So let's have a look now. So the volts drop now across there is now 1.4 or 1.5. So let's just check that. 1.5 divided by 43.5. That's 34.4 milliamps now, so we're getting up there. Let's just check the other side. 1.9. That side's 38.6. 17.6 that, so we'll probably just bring that down as just a shade. Right, so I've got those JJs in, and the one side is 17 watts and the other side is 15 watts. There's 2 watts out those. So I need to take my resistance measurements again and just make sure that I'm right with that. But the other tubes that came out were perfectly matched, really. Right, so I've just been over all my measurements again, and yeah, 15 watts and 17 watts I've got these biased at now. So yeah, 2 watts out for a matched set of tubes. That's pretty bad. I mean, we have got a slight discrepancy in the output transformer. We've got 43.5 on the other side and 50 on the side that's hotter, but yeah, what can I say? That it is what it is. Right, we've got this Burman on the 4x12 for a bit of a demo, and put it all back in its case and plugged it in, and it was sounding rather sick, and one of the preamp tubes had gone to air. Reverb wasn't working either. Replaced that, and we're all good to go again. So I don't know what happened there with that. I can't see any cracks in it, but it's gone to air anyway. So thought we just blast this demo off. Yeah, I've got the overcoat on. I've just been over to the doctor's for a little checkup, so it was all got the all clear. Though she did say I could do with a facelift, but anyway, let's blast away at this. So we'll start with the overdrive. So yeah, it seems a bit tighter now, but then those coupling caps were shot, so yeah, that's pretty good. And there's plenty left on there. That's gain 2 there's only on number 4. Gain 1's on just short of 8, and we've got that 0.5 on gain 3. This thing is loud, really loud. It's a beast. Got a bit of reverb on, and the reverb is noisy. You can hear it. That's just the as I say, the reverb tank too close to the tubes. But to be fair, you only need a bit of the reverb in. It's quite a beast. Let's see if we can clean it up and see what clean we can get out of it. So if we look back these down, bring this up. Oh dear, that's a bit out of tune. Some more mid in there. So yeah, there we go, you get a reasonable clean tone out of it as well. A bit more bass in. light switch works. So yeah, pretty quiet. So that'll do it for this one. So thanks for watching. You all take care. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye for now.